And we are good to go.
I'm having a little technical difficulties with my own computer at home, but I'm going to begin the meeting. It is 6:04 p.m. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the town of Dayton. This is the Town of Dayton Planning Board regular meeting / public hearing held remotely on Wednesday, February 17th, 2020 at 6 p.m. Due to the increasing concern surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting / public hearing will be held remotely with no physical meeting location. Those seeking to provide public input should do so using the methods listed below. Video and audio of the meeting will be aired on Comcast Local TV 9 at a later date. A live recording of the meeting will be available on the Town of Dayton YouTube channel, which can be accessed using this link, www.youtube.com/Town of Dayton Planning and Land Use. Public input may be provided using the following methods. Contact our office at keasterday@dayton-mass.gov. That's keasterday@daytonmass.gov. And use the email subject line, regular meeting, February 17, 2020, public input, and include your name and address for the record. Or you may call 508-669-6431, extension 114 during the meeting, and leave a voicemail if necessary. I'd like to have everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to move on to agenda item number 3. Gentlemen, I will entertain a motion to confirm the next meeting date of March 3rd of 2021.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion been made. Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion on the next meeting date of March 3rd of 2020? Hearing none, let's vote. Gentlemen by roll. Vice Chairman Boner.
Aye.
Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Ryans. Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Again, it's next meeting date is March 3rd of 2021. I'm going to move on to agenda item number 4, which is business, and that's to discuss the 2009 Emerald Estate subdivision with Robert Barabee of Proline Engineering. Mr. Barabee, good evening. Welcome to the meeting. And John, sir, you have the floor.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, like you said, we submitted in around March of 2009, a definitive subdivision plan for Dennis and Debbie Emerald. They had a dwelling on a large piece of property. We created a road to give them 2 additional house lots at the time they were going to be for their children. They were never built on. They started the work, did the paving, put in the stormwater system, most of it, but not all of it. And now they've decided they want to sell the house, but not the rest of the property. So the attorney, we weren't aware of it, but the attorney contacted me. They couldn't find any evidence of the plan being recorded in the registry. So we looked, we had the plan that was signed by us, the bond copies, and Kerry gave us a copy of the approval by the planning board, which was signed, I think, November 4th, 2009. But I can't find any evidence where it was recorded either. So I don't know what happened to the Mylar, but I don't think it was ever fully executed or recorded. So that's what he needs to sell his property. Now, the problem is that it's definitely over the 6 months to record a Mylar, even if it was signed back in 2009. I don't believe anything has changed with the subdivision control law, at least nothing major with regard to stormwater, road construction, things of that nature. The lots, as they are proposed, do conform to the current planning board regulations, but we need to come up with a Mylar and then it would have to be re-signed by the board, and then it would have to be recorded before they could sell it. Otherwise, their only option at this point would be to sell the entire piece of property to them and then have to work something out with them to see if they could obtain the other 2 lots back once everything is taken care of, if they want to handle it right away. So I think my question is what is the procedure that the board would like to see? Would you like me to put a whole new set of plans? Do we need to refile the entire subdivision? Can we just refile the definitive plans, which are the plans that get recorded in the registry? And I'm not sure if you're still using Peter Williams, but I could submit the old stormwater calculations to him again. He reviewed it originally when it was submitted, and he could go through it to make sure it still does conform. But whatever the board wishes, that's the way we're going to go with this one.
Okay, Bob, I have a question.
Sure.
I believe I was the only member of the board currently that was on the board back then. It says here that it was filed with the town clerk December 3rd of 2009. We have a copy of the decision here. And so my question, isn't a Mylar given to the town clerk as well as to you to file with the at the what am I trying at the board there?
The registry of deeds, Bob.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
You're welcome.
usually the way it happens is when the plan is approved by the board. Like a lot of the times, if it's a small job, we turn everything in, the bylaws, the plans, right away.
Right.
But most of the time, they get revised along the way before they get approved. So we just turn in bond copies. Then once the decision is made, then we file it with the clerk because it has to sit there, like for 20 days during the appeal period.
Right.
At that point, the clerk will sign it if there are no appeals taken, and then the plan can be recorded. So usually that's the way it works, that we prepare. Once it's approved, which was done on November 4th, then it goes to the clerk at that point and gets filed for the 20-day appeal period. I saw, I did
Okay,
see
so there's
filed.
no record of any Mylars being transferred over to the town clerk or to the registry of deeds?
We don't have, we don't keep a record that we printed out of Mylar. We have our bond copies here. They were signed by us, by Joe Zrebeck, my land surveyor, and by myself. But we don't have any record that we actually brought the Mylar. If I had to guess, I would say it was probably brought there since the clerk did sign that it was filed. But I can't say for sure. I don't know what happened to it, but we just don't have it.
Okay, so I don't know. This seems kind of fishy to me. It's if a Mylar is supposed to be signed by us and then brought to the town clerk, which it was filed with the town clerk December 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gets a copy of it and you get a copy of it, but there's no record of it. To me, that's a little puzzling.
Yeah, we usually don't get the copy of the Mylar back until it's ready for recording. And a lot of times it can either be picked up by us or by the owner. But it wasn't picked up by us once the 20-day appeal expired.
Could there be a situation where it was picked up by the owner and he just decided not to file, maybe for tax purpose?
I'm not sure. It could have been that, or maybe he just didn't know. Maybe he picked it up and thought that's all he needed to do, because it wasn't like we have any record of him contacting us to ask us. So it could have been picked up by the homeowner and not filed. But he claims he doesn't have it.
Okay.
So
So,
Kerry, do
Bob,
we have a
nothing-
copy of this subdivision on file?
I do have a copy of the plans. I do
Okay.
have a copy of the original application, this, and the decision, which is what you have before you right now.
Okay.
I think the thing that we have to keep in mind here is that under Mass General Law, Chapter 41 with the subdivision,
Mhm.
is that after approval of the planning board, and once all is said and done, the applicant is required to have it recorded at the registry within 6 months.
Yeah, I was reading that earlier.
And if it's not done within 6 months, then everything reverts back to the original state. So that means that the subdivision does not exist. And
Okay,
the
so-
property reverts back to the original state, meaning one big lot.
Right, okay.
Correct, and it's resubmittal. So there's been no, Bob, Mr. Barrowby, there's been, you've done no research to find out if this Mylar has been recorded at the registry of deeds?
We researched it and could not find it. It's definitely not recorded in the
It's
registry.
definitely not. And I researched it as
Okay.
well.
Okay, so, Carrie, just let me just ask this question. Have we had any discussion with council on this matter?
I have spoken to council as a generic discussion. We've done it in the past with a different application. That it's pretty much, there's no other avenue. If an extension is requested, it has to be asked before a subdivision is expired.
Correct,
So
there'd be
if
no,
a subdivision is
yes,
expired, right? So this decision
Yeah.
was, the date of the decision that you have before you is December 3rd of 2009. Now, 6 months after that, if they had asked it, the day before that, and the board approved it, they could have had an extension. But because
Yeah,
we're
okay.
beyond that expiration date, we can't even give them an extension on that.
That extension would not,
yeah, so we're in a position right now, Bob, that, I've done a little research on this too, that, we can't, grant any relief, and this is just gonna revert back to, again, back to one lot and back to square one, if, you'd like to proceed, further,
Yeah, that's what we wanted to know, because I just have to report back to them on what we would have to do. We don't have to go out, we've got a lot of the work done, it's just that my surveyor who stamped all this and created these lots has since retired. I have another surveyor, so he's gonna have to go through everything, but that's not your problem, so I'll talk to Amarols and let them know, and then we'll submit them. Are you still using Peter Williams for consulting, or?
No, we are now using Green International.
Okay. All right.
Forgive me.
yeah, Mr. Berry, I'm sure, Mrs. Easty there will, forward that information along to you, I'm sure you're gonna need that. Yeah, we've, gone through a different set of consultants, and, just to let you in, Bob, is that, Mr. Williams is working on any of our open cases right now that have not been completed, and when they are, he's retiring, and unfortunately, he's leaving us. He's
Okay.
done a great service to Dayton for many years, as we all know, so.
Yeah, we like them. Okay, but that doesn't matter. Whoever the consultant is, and
Yeah.
we can put the package back together and submit it. I'll talk to Amarols tomorrow and let them know what they have to do, and if they want to work something out with their attorney to sell it as a loan lot. In the meantime, while it's going through the review process, then they can do that, and then we'll proceed if they want us to. But I just want your opinion. So that's it for today.
All right. I appreciate you coming out, Bob, and we had this discussion just to straighten this matter out. As I say, it's just unfortunate, we just couldn't grant any relief.
That's okay. All right, we'll see you.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
Thank you. This is Easter Day. Are we ready to move on?
We are. Did
All
Woody
right,
leave the meeting?
I'm sorry?
Did we lose Woody, Robert Woods?
Yes, we did. He had a prior engagement this evening.
Thank you. Okay.
So, yes, we did. He may pop back in. I'm not sure, but I believe he did tell me he had a prior engagement. That's 6:30 thing he had to do.
Okay. Thank you.
So, you're very welcome. So, gentlemen, I know that we've all received the solar packet, which was very large and consisted of the breakdown of information on what they've done for their bylaws in 2 separate towns. And they were the town of Palmer and the town of North Brookfield. Now, I've looked at Palmer's pretty extensively and gone through and looked at their bylaws in regards to, they have set criteria for the amount of acreage, minimum amount of acreage with the minimum amount of kilowatts that can be fed or built on the system, on that ground, I should say. And then they have also another one that's for parcels of land over a certain amount of acres that is required that they can only have a certain amount of kilowatts going through. We're just in a discussion phase on this. You know, this could be something that we could use in order to tweak our own bylaws. It's their, you know, vegetated buffer zones are a little different. As I say, the setbacks for distance are quite different than what we have here in town. As I say, like lot requirements on, this is general standards on the page 3, is large ground mounted solar systems are located on no parcels larger than 5 acres. I'm sorry, they shall be permitted on parcels larger than 5 acres. And then they'll go down and they'll change it to small, and that also will be a different set of circumstances for the acreage.
Mr. Chairman, if I may interrupt,
Sure.
I know that Woody is very much involved in this. He's got a lot of different things, and also Mr. Cavallo also did a lot of, he actually is the one that started this. And I guess my question is, wouldn't it be better that we discussed this when we had a full board on, rather than just the 3 of us now discussing it? And then I'm not saying that I don't want to discuss this. I'm saying I would rather see the entire board be involved in this from the get-go.
You know, Mr. Figueredo, now that you say that, and I've sat back and thought about that, I think you're right. So, again, what I'd like to do is that, you know, the 3 of us that are with us this evening, you know, look through it again. And what I'd like you to do is take our bylaws and try to go through and match up and see if anything marries up to what we have as our bylaws, and maybe something that we could change. So we can all make our own notes in the meantime, and then we can proceed as follows.
Okay.
How does that sound, gentlemen?
Sounds good to me.
But I do have one question for you for the board, and I will pose it to mostly Jeff, because I know he's been kind of spearheading this, and he's seems to be very in tune to this. But I know, if you recall, a while back, there was a discussion about having a potential applicant come in with a special permit for one of those, was it battery sites? Forgive my terminology.
Yes, correct. That was up at Hot Street, Carrie, if I remember
Yeah, the
correctly.
battery storage locations. And I don't recall seeing any information in regards to that in this solar bylaw stuff. So I didn't know if we were going to be starting to consider something on that as well. I think we might want to take an opportunity to take a look at that as well.
I absolutely agree. I think it's a good, good thing to make a notation about,
Okay.
that we can add to this. That's great. And also, I think that, in regards to people talk about visualization all the time, I think there's something else we should look at because, you know, we have a couple, one that's, you know, close to the road, but they have, you know, agreed to all of our standards of what we've asked them to do. So, but it's something else we can look into.
Okay.
I
So
wholeheartedly agree.
I will send, I know Jeff is away at work, but I'll make sure I get an email out to him on the storage site, for lack of a better term, but. and see if-
Yes, and just if you would in that note, Terry, when you do send it out to him, just ask him if, when he has spare time, just to take our bylaws and read ours and see, you know, what the comparisons would be, or if there are comparisons at all.
Sure,
And then write down his thoughts of what he, you know, thinks that would, you know, possibly be included with an amendment going further.
sure.
Great. So, gentlemen, I'm going to wrap that discussion up, and we're going to take that up at a later date. And I'd like to move on to agenda item number 5, and that's I'd entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of January 20th of 2021.
I'll make
I'll
that
make that in
motion.
form of a motion.
I'll second
Motion
it.
has been made by Mr. Figurito and seconded by Vice Chairman Boner. Any further discussion on the meeting minutes of January 2021? Hearing none. Let's vote by roll call. Vice Chairman Boner.
Aye.
Mr. Figurito.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines, aye. Mrs. Easterday, do we have any correspondence for this month?
See, we have no correspondence at this time.
Okay. Do we have any public inputs?
Nope. Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Nope.
Gentlemen, thank you. Before we adjourn, I just like to remind everybody that March 3rd is our next meeting, and that's going to be March 3rd, 2020 at 6 p.m. And I just want to say this before we have our next meeting next month is that Vice Chairman Boner has been a part of the planning board for 20 years, and he's given his all and his time away from his family in order to serve with us. So I just want to let it be known that, you know, before the election happens in April, Bob, I do as a resident appreciate everything you've done, and I'm probably sure I'll say it again next month.
Well, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve this town for 20 years. Definitely has been.
Takes a stand-up kind of individual to be involved with, you know, town business and get involved in municipal government. So I do appreciate that, Bob.
It hasn't been easy sometimes, that's for sure.
That I am sure. So, would any of the members like to say anything on the public input at this time, or?
No, I just want to say, Bob, I've been on the planning board for about, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 years, or whatever it has been. And it's been an honor working with you. You've been a great guy to work with, and I thank you for that. I guess that's all.
Same here, Joe.
I'm short and sweet.
It's been fun, and I can say honestly, I can call you people my friends, and it's been a great time.
Hope I can
So,
say the
you know,
same thing when I leave.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, exactly, Joe. You know, it's quite a thing. So, that being said, gentlemen, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
I will second.
Motion's been made by Vice Chairman Boner and seconded by his member, Mr. Figurito. Any further discussion on adjournment? Hearing none, let's vote by roll. Vice Chairman Boner.
Aye.
Member Figurito.
Aye.
Chairman Rhines, aye. Thank you very much, Cable, as always. Thank you, Mrs. Easterday. And we look forward to seeing everyone again next month.
Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a great evening. Stay safe and good night. Thank
Good
you,
night.
Cable.